Hey, Terry, how are you? Thanks for logging on. Harold, I am interstatal. Just finishing lining up my cigar. And we're ready. Here we go. Here we go. Let me get a voice. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Angie's Angles. It is leap year, February 29th, in the year of my Lord, 2024. Clark, Terry, Harold, thanks for joining. I appreciate you and happy leap year. So I was searching for a topic tonight, and being that leap year happens every 4 years, I went back 40 years, 10 leap years. 10 times 4 is 40. And I looked up the Mets record, and we didn't count 2020 because that was a COVID year, and we don't count that. Okay, so we don't count that. So we bypassed 2020, and we started at 2016. We went all the way back to 1980. 1980, oh my goodness, 1980, what was I? I was, holy crap, I'm thinking that I was 15 years old in 1980. Oh my God. Hey, John, thanks for joining us. Clark, that's from one of his best friends is now 16. 16 times 4. What are we going to do the math? Holy crap, 64 years old to Clark's friend. Happy leap year birthday. So let's get right into it. That's funny, Tom. So in the all right, let's do it first. 2016, the Mets were 87-75. They finished second, 6 games back. 2012, they were 74-88. Fourth place, 24 games back. No chance. 2008, we kind of, even though we went 89-73, we came in second, 3 games back. 2004, we went 71-91, fourth place, 25 games back. 2000, 94-68, and believe it or not, we only finished second, 1 game back. 1996, not a good year. We went 71-91, fourth place, 25 games back. 1992, 72-90, fifth place, 24 games back. 1988, what a year 1988 was. We went 160, first place. We won the division by 15 games. 1984, that was the start of Gooden, Strawberry, etc., etc. We went 90-72, but finished second place, 6.5 games back. 1980, we went 67 and looks like 95, fourth place, and 24 games back. So for the last 40 years of leap years, 10 years, 10 years back, but 40 years ago, we have a record of 5-5 in leap years. 5 over 500 and 5 under 500. So this is kind of like the tiebreaker because we drew 2020 out. So this is going to be the tiebreaker 2024 to see how we do. And the way it's going in Met camp, it's not looking promising. And let's get right into it real quick. I was kind of searching YouTube looking for a little fodder on one Kodai Senga. Now, guys, Clark, Harold, Tom, we all played sports back in the day. And back in the day, it's a lot different than it is today. Back in the day, if you had a bum shoulder, if you had a bum hamstring, you stretched it out and you got out on the field, whatever sport you were playing, right? But today's day and age where the contracts are gazillion dollars, the teams can't jeopardize losing their players for multiple years. And I took a lot of things into factor here, right? And Mike Marciano, I think it's Marciano. he's debating me because I've called it. I said Kodai Senga will not pitch not one game in 2024 because of the strained shoulder capsule. And I firmly believe that they're going to baby this kid. He's got a ton of talent. 2024, for all intents and purposes, looks like it's a wash year. It looks like we're going to try to give our kids a lot of playing time, see where they fall. Maybe Acuna makes it to the big leagues day one. I'm probably not sure of that because they're not going to want the clock to start ticking. So there's a lot of parameters in play with my prognostication that Kodai Senga is not going to play this year. 3 weeks laid up. He got the plasma platelet injection, the PPI, and he's got to be on the sidelines for at least 3 weeks before he can start throwing. And then he's got to build his arm strength up, get the mechanics down. So end of May is a possibility if all the stars align and everything is correct with one Kodai Senga. And then also, my humble opinion, I believe they're not going to play with Kodai Senga, kind of like they did with DeGrom. They're gonna let Kodai heal. They're gonna run all the tests possible and get a gauge on where he's at. So with that said, I'm not really sure what David Stearns is doing. I mean, we got Montgomery, we got Schnell. I don't think Schnell's going to be a Met. I don't see, because then you got to give up a qualifying offer guy. It's too complicated to get Schnell. But we could certainly get Jordan Montgomery, and I do think, especially now that we had another guy, the Kellick or Kendrick guy just went down also. Quintana didn't look all that great today, but it's spring training. He's only working on his mechanics. He's a seasoned veteran, so he's just playing with some pitches, I'd imagine. But again, he gave up a couple runs today to the Astros in spring training. So I don't think Kodai Senga is going to see the field at Citi Field this year. I think they're going to shelve him. I think they're going to rehab the hell out of him. And for all indicators, directly, especially coming out of Steve Cohen's mouth, that we're going to be, this is kind of like a little restructure year. Let Carlos, who the hell are you, Mendoza, get his feet wet. Let David Stearns do whatever magic that he's alleged to have done in the past. He's going to bring it to New York and to the Mets, and we'll see what happens. So I'm searching Kodai Senga health information on Google. I Google it, and I come across it was a YouTube presentation. If you're local, you know the guy. His name is Brandon London. He's a New York Post sports anchor, and he had this woman doctor, Dr. Natasha Desai, from New York Langone Orthopedics, women's. So she was the co-director for women's sports medicine at NYU Langone Orthopedics. And the YouTube thing was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. Hey, Kev, thanks for joining us. Kev, so we got Harold, we got Clark, we got Kev. I am tri-interstatal. And if you haven't noticed it, folks, the voice is coming back. I will be in prime condition for opening day, for my rants and my upsetness with the New York Mets. And I'm hoping they give me happiness so I can shout out with glee and joy instead of condemning them. So this woman doctor, Dr. Natasha Desai, co-director for women's sports medicine at New York Langone Orthopedics. So Brandon London asks her, so Doc, Kodai Senga's injury, what's his timetable? Well, Brandon, I haven't seen the MRIs. I haven't seen. James Krause is in the house. What's up, James? Give us an update on the rehab, please. I haven't seen the MRIs, and 3 weeks he's going to be laid up, and then they got to ramp him up. But not seeing the MRI, it could be longer, it could be shorter. Might as well get a sixth grader and say the same crap. You're a seasoned professional. You haven't seen the MRI, so therefore whatever you're telling me is crap. because you haven't seen the damage done to his shoulder. You can't possibly tell me. You cannot possibly tell me his timetable without actually seeing the MRI, taking a look at his motion, gauge his pain, etc., etc., etc. As a little homage to one Gene Wilder in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So, I just can't put any credence into this. I mean, I spend a lot of time the last couple of days, and I'm going to tell you something. So Facebook has been wonderful to me. Wonderful. I've met Harold. Well, Harold, we met on Twitter, but now we're on Facebook. I met Harold. I reconnected with Kevin Elliott. And one Brett Milletta, who lives down in Florida. We've struck up a very, very nice friendship. And we were talking about that I need to broaden my podcast viewership. I should start talking about other things. Maybe like a men's health podcast or a cigar podcast, something that I'm passionate about that I could carry. So James Krause, let's put you up on the big screen. I like this feature. So James Krause says, rehab sucks. They denied PT for his shoulder, but approved neck for PT. Comp sucks. I'm sorry to hear about that, brother. I hope things are getting better for you guys. So I have to contemplate this, right? Because there's only so much time in my day, but I do a lot of time traveling. Clark, thanks, buddy. Kevin, that's funny. Kevin's telling me first I need to have a podcast. What do we call this? This is not a podcast. I don't know. But so I drive a lot, so I have to I'm gonna go to Amazon, get a phone holder, and maybe I could do some podcasts from the road, right? He's telling me YouTube Live. Well, I tried YouTube Live. I'm not passionate about baseball, James. No, you're right. I'm above and beyond passionate. So I'm going to think about that. Brett's giving me some really good support, some ideas. He's pushing me to try to create something more than what I have here. This will never go away. Thursday, 8:30 live, guaranteed. Yes, content. Right, Kevin Elliott. Thank you very much, sir. So anyway, so we ran down, Kev, I don't know if you were here, but we ran down the New York Mets leap year records for the last 40 years, 10 years worth of leap years. We threw 2020 out. We didn't discuss 2020. It was a shortened season. They wound up to be 5-5. They were 5 years above 500 and 5 years below 500. They only finished first. That was 1988, where we failed against the Dodgers, where Gooden gave up the home run to Mike Scioscia. I called it. I was on the Pete Franklin show. We discussed fettuccine Alfredo. Pete Franklin was a hell of a guy. I like Pete Franklin. Rest his soul. So where are we at the 8:43 mark? So getting back to the Mets pitching staff, I don't understand. So not only do I not understand why I am certified nuts, James. That's 1,000% correct. I don't understand why the Mets are now not heavily pursuing Jordan Montgomery. It's a necessary signing. We have to give the team a viable pitcher who's going to go out there and keep us in the game, perhaps. And because this guy doesn't think that Kodai Senga is going to see the mound on a professional baseball field this season. Hey, Linda, I am quadruple interstatal. And Linda, shout out to you and your girls if they're in the car. Safe travels to wherever you're going. Linda Stein, and I was going to cover her in the prayer circle, but we'll cover it now. Her and her 2 daughters. Linda, Kelly, I think, is one of your daughter's name. What's your other daughter's name, please? If you don't mind, I'd like to acknowledge them. They're taking a girls' road trip before one of their weddings. I think Kelly's getting married. I believe, is that accurate? And Jessica. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Jessica. Welcome to Angie's Angles. Harold's, yeah, let's go. So Harold says, I like Pete Franklin. I had a friend that explored radio out of our normal range. He was fun. Yeah, so Pete Franklin was great. Without a doubt, he was crazy. I love Pete Franklin. Crotchety old guy, but he was a fun guy. Um, I'm not a fun guy. You know why I'm not a fun guy? Because I hate mushrooms. Y'all get that. I think I've used that joke a couple of times. Kevin Elliott, correct. I've left out Bauer. Thank you for the reminder. So if we go and sign Bauer, we go and sign Montgomery, holy cannoli. Now we're talking about a viable pitching staff, and I do think we have the offense to compete on a daily basis. So explain that to me, one David Stearns. Why are we not making these moves? We all know that Trevor Bauer is only going to cost you publicity press. He's not going to cost you dollars all that much. Harold, thank you, my friend. Always counting on you, Harold, for the humor. That's awesome. So, why are we not making these moves? And more importantly, why is there a Blake Snell, Gordon Montgomery, Trevor Bauer, JD Martinez, and Matt Chapman still on the free agent market? Cody Bellinger signed with the Cubs, and I guarantee he's not having a nice conversation with one Scott Boras. And the reason is Scott Boras told Cody, enjoy the offseason. I'm going to get you a $200 million contract. Guess what, Cody? You settled for 80. Now, listen, that's nothing to sneeze at. $80 million, sign me up. Thank you kindly. But he came off of a $200 million expectation. And he signed for 80 with this opt-out here. And if the full moon falls in the western sky on a Saturday, the opt-out happens. I mean, these opt-outs are killing me. And the rant is back. Angie's Angles is back 100%. If you know what I mean. Oh, baby. Angie's back. All right. So Harold's telling me in this instance only, I wouldn't blame the Mets for signing Bauer. And thank you, Harold. I know where you stand on Bauer, right? But in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And yes, not a nice guy. Bad history. Not a good guy to women. All of that's understood. But nothing was substantiated. Nothing was proven. And God knows, with the steroids and the cocaine and the alcoholism and the actual documented and proven cases of spousal abuse by these players, that they should all go and go away. But Trevor Bauer was not ever proven there, and you're going to have to deal with some negative publicity. But you know what? Not for nothing. I think the Mets has got the chutzpah to handle that. I'm going to digress for 1 second. We're at the 8:48 mark. As you know, last week I told you about my Uncle Louis passing, 97 years old, God bless. We were in Florida at the time of his passing. I could not make the services. So when I got back into town last Sunday, I went and had breakfast with my Aunt Mary. It was her and I, and it was the best 2 hours I spent in a long, long time. They were very instrumental in my life. I brought bagels in. My Aunt Mary made coffee. We chit-chat about this. I learned a couple of things about that. I took a couple of pictures she had at the house. She had one of my dad and my Uncle Louis on the coffee table. A lot of fun, a lot of good memories. Thank you, James. He lived a wonderful life. I think we all signed up for 97. Right, Harold. It's New York. If anyone can finesse the press, it could be us. Maybe we bring Jay Horowitz back to season to handle that circus that it'll be if it happens. So, we'll sign Trevor Bauer, Joe Montgomery. We got Quintana Sereno. We got Hauser. Now, where's Nick Troiano? that gives me something to bite down on. That's viable pitching staff. Now, if Marte's healthy, if Alonso in his contract year goes nuts, if McNeil recaptures the form of his hitting, if, right? No Syndergaard, Kevin. Keep Syndergaard out of here. I despise Syndergaard. I do not want Syndergaard. But thank you very much for the thought process. We're at the 850 mark. I can't believe how fast we're flying. I got a pretty big prayer circle, so let's do this. Harold, we're praying for Dawn Squared, your wife and your co-worker. Kindly give us those updates. I know your wife has secured a job, and I hope things are going well. I know Dawn agreed to some procedures. She's waiting for results. Also, your friend Ed with the testicular cancer prognosis, perhaps, and he's waiting on some information. So we're praying for them. Scott Tobias, as always, we're praying for your wife and mom. And Scott, if you could give us an update one day. Linda Stein, we're praying for your dad. And happy travel to you, Jessica, Kelly, and yourself on your girls' trip with your two daughters. The Krause family, Aubrey, JD, James, we're praying for all your recoveries. Aubrey, that you remain in remission. JD, I hope by now you're all healed up. And James, I don't know what to tell you about that rotator cuff. I hear it's nasty. Kevin Elliott, my good friend from Florida, from high school, high school, as he faces his health challenges and he battles it every day. Martha, my co-worker, as she progresses and recovers from surgery, I saw her for the first time in the cafeteria. She looks wonderful. Mark Brooks, we're missing you tonight, Mark. I didn't see you sign on, but we're praying for your dad and your balance issues. Clark, we're praying for Brad and Tricia and continue good health news for them. Mr. McGowan, sir, as always, we have your 6, and I'm going to give you a buzz, Mr. McGowan. Debbie and Lee down in Maryland, we got to get an update, and I'll try to get that for next week. My good friend Fred from the Smoke Therapy Lounge here, as he contemplates his rotator cuff decision. Coach Courtney asked me to add his sister Pat and his brother-in-law Calvin. Prayers are needed for them. And Big John, good guy here at the lounge, his friend's wife Irene, he's asked us to include her in our prayers. That concludes the prayer circle. Again, anybody ever needs a prayer circle edition, PM me, text me, call me, drop me a line. Of course, Clark, it's always my pleasure. And I'm glad to hear that Brad's doing much better. Not that we don't want to stop praying for him, but it'd be nice if he could come off the prayer circle. That means everything is going well. So we're at day 53 mark. Let's get some predictions here on Kodai Senga. My Met fans, James, Kevin, what's your opinion about Kodai Senga? Kevin is on record as saying that he's always injured. Come on, he had a good season last year, 2.98 ERA. Yeah, James is with me, says we see him next year. I don't disagree with that, James. I think it's and again, if we get off to a hot start, maybe you have to push the accelerator a little bit on his recovery, on his progress. If there's hope that we're going to have a halfway decent season, perhaps we need him on the mound. But if we get Bauer, if we get Montgomery, we don't need him. We have that luxury of allowing him to recover. We come out in 2025 fighting like mad, and maybe we have yeah, James, as Met fans, we become accustomed to expecting the worst but hoping for the best. So who knows? We're at day 54 mark. So again, folks, we're going to work on my podcast a little bit here. The Angie's Angles portion of my podcast, we're going to wait till the opening season starts March 28th. As a matter of fact, as a little side note, Danny texted me today. Hey, Dad, you want to go to London and go watch the Met Philly series in London? I gave a little chuckle. Why? Is it free? He goes, no, the tickets are only like $60, $70, $80. I go, are you swimming over there? Are you swimming over to London, Dan? Are you taking a canoe? So I looked up the prices on the airline. It's like $2,000 round trip to London in June. He goes, "Oh, never mind, Dad." I said, "I tell you what, Dad, I'll get the next best option. We'll have a house party. We'll watch the series on Saturday and Sunday. We'll get the baked beans. We'll get the hot dogs. We'll get the soda flowing." So, that'll be a good time to watch that. My tradition always in the Gagliano household is opening day. I if I'm not home to watch it, I tape it. I don't listen to any social media. I actually leave my phone off. I don't look at updates, etc., etc. No radio, no nothing. And then I go home and watch the game live. Well, delayed live on my TV. And I set myself up with my Guinness, my hot dogs, my beans, and it's a good time. So we're at day 55, Mark. If nobody has anything else, we'll go. Mark, I hope, Mark Brooks, we missed you unless you snuck on in here and I didn't see you. Terry, again, thanks for joining us here. Just making sure I didn't miss anybody. So I don't think I have anything else to add. If nobody else has it, we're at the 8:56 mark. Linda, Jessica, Kelly, safe travels. Linda, give me a little hit when you come back, making sure everybody got home safe and sound. That'll be nice. This has been Angie's Angles, coming to you live from Smoke Therapy, 215 Ronkonkoma Avenue, Ronkonkoma, New York. Angie's back, baby. Good night. God bless. I love you.